Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the Sweet Sens Nation. My name's Sam. On the other side here, we got Terry. How's it going today, Terry?
Hey guys, how's it going?
So this is going to be a new series we're running. It's kind of like a video podcast, whatever you want to call it, just mashup of stuff. But we just want to talk about our hometown Sens. We love
Yep, the
them.
good old boys.
We grew up with them. They're our boys, day one. So we'll kind of just touch on the off season first. Yes, is that Curtis Lazar back there or Kobe?
Kovalev, yeah. It's pretty old. Yeah, there's a few guys on there that aren't even playing anymore.
But yeah, so we'll touch on a few things. So we'll start with the Sens off season first. We lost, I don't know, I guess you say some key pieces to the 2017 Stanley Cup run, where we lost Chris Kunitz overtime game 7 goal. I know you had some anger feelings towards that, so we won't get touch into that. So all right, so we'll start off with goalie, and we'll work our way out just like Brian Burke would do. So we lost Craig Anderson. He kind of hinted on Facebook towards possible retirement. There's kind of some shade on it, so he kind of knew he wasn't coming back to Ottawa a long time ago. What do you think about that move there?
Honestly, I think it was the right move. It was time. His age, I mean, you could tell he was slowing down, and like he's not a guy like he's at the time where he should be sitting on the bench in a backup role, but he also kind of doesn't want to. And with the young guys we have here and us transitioning to a younger team, unfortunately, he's got two good goalies currently pushing him out at the NHL level, and then 3 or 2 pushing him on him at the door as well. Someone had to make the cut. It was him, and hopefully, he finds somewhere to play or retires happily. He was the best goalie we ever had.
Yeah, exactly. And you are right. Like, we have a lot of, everyone says like, oh, Ottawa has some bad goaltending coming down the pipeline. It's like, no, not really. We have Marcus Hoberg, who showed that he could stick it in the NHL, facing maybe like 70 shots a game because of Ottawa's defense, I guess. You got Philip Gustafsson, who is, I don't know if he's, I think he's on the right track still. Was he like 23 years old?
He's 22. Yeah, he's 22. He got a full year in him last year at Belleville, and this year he's being loaned out until the beginning of the season. So hopefully that gets him a little bit of development, and then he gets back into the AHL, and possibly next year. I mean, if there's an injury or something, we could even see him come up, or Joey Decord.
Yeah, Joey Decord is another one. Like, I think he played for Arizona State, was it?
I can go check
I believe it.
Quick.
It's something like that. Don't worry about that part. But and we got QMJHL's goalie of the year, Kevin Mandolese, in our system, as well as big old Danish guy there, Mads Søgaard.
Oh yeah, Mads Søgaard. I actually forgot about him. We did draft him.
Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff in the system. So does it make sense to draft Askarov this draft? Probably not for Ottawa. I think we have a lot more needs, so we'll kind of just move up to another loss, which is the Borough Cup. Mark Borieski, big, solid, reliable defenseman when he's not hurt, that is. I don't think he's played a full season in his career yet because he's had a lot of freak injuries and stuff like that. Yeah, and suspensions, which is kind of concerning. I'm just going to make a weird comparison. Call me out if I'm wrong on this, but Mark Borieski, whatever you want to call him, Borokop, is Matt Karkner 2.0.
He's Matt Karkner 2.0, but he's got a little bit more skill, I'd say. Like, in my eyes, like, he could actually do a few things. Like, last year, I felt like whenever he wanted to take his job a little bit more seriously and stop trying to just beat on people, he actually could, move the puck and shoot it. But the problem is, with our current roster, he's just not going to push into anywhere better than the 7th defenseman. And I understand it from his point of view. With COVID, you want to have job security. But at his age and with what we're trying to do, again, like he was a great soldier for us, but unfortunately it's time to move on from some of these people.
Yeah, because what Matt Carkner did was like honestly, like all power to him. He went out in the free agency market, fetched I think it's like a 3.3 or
He got himself a good
3.5.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
over
with the
three
Islanders, right?
years. Yeah, with the Islanders.
It's a
But
great deal.
three out of 3 years though, he only played 60 games or something like that.
Hmm.
Because he just fell into the injury bell, and that's where I'm very concerned with Borieski. Is he has that injury proneness to him, whether it's a Brad Marchand slew foot hip check thing or just whatever it is, they'll knock him
Yeah.
out for a while. So just kind of moving up, I guess, in the lineup, the big loss, I would say, of all three of them. I don't know, Andy might be the biggest, but Bobby Ryan bottom out, cleared up a bunch of cap space. What do you think of the Bobby Ryan loss?
So this one kind of sucks. I mean, so I feel like I really like Bobby Ryan as a person. I've been calling for his contract to come off for a while, and I do feel bad for it,
Yeah.
for what I've said. But my opinion based on it was I didn't know what was going on at the time. My only concern is with what I saw after last season, or with what I saw last season when he came back, he really had a spark to him. And I know there was a lot going on for him and it was exciting. I was hoping that would still transition over this season. The only thing I feel like it's a loss is the veteran leadership. Like we did get a little too young, and I feel like having a guy like him who, like we could get a veteran free agent, but Bobby kind of has been with Ottawa for a while, but that contract eats us, and that's what scares me is with the cap floor too. So fortunately, writing's on the wall.
It is what it is. Like you never know, like because like he went to rehab, he did all that stuff. He could just totally 180. He could go back to like a solid player, but is that 100% chance? No. Is that a huge cap space we have? Yes, because we're gonna have a lot of guys coming up that are going to need contracts. So might as well get that off the books now, kind of thing.
Exactly. And with the way, I heard an interview the other day from Christian Wallen, and he was very adamant that the rebuild stops now. Like now is the time to start putting this together and competing and being a contender. So that what we started the rebuild 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
speaks for itself. We have Uncle Hainsey still. So Uncle Ronnie there could guide our defense a bit. And we have the Artie Anisimov, who will shelter those Russian guys. So maybe we can get.
Hainsey's a UFA, you know that, right?
Yeah, I know, but honestly, like by the sounds of it, he's going to sign back with Ottawa, just to slot into that like playing with Shabbat again role probably.
Yeah.
Like even though Shabbat's going to play like 45 minutes a night kind of thing.
I got you.
So we got some holes to fill in our lineup.
I have a quick touch on two things with the departures, though. I won't go into it,
man.
Two things I've been hearing is it hurts that we lost a lot of pieces from the 2017 team, and apparently like it was a big thing that now we don't have any of those pieces. The only thing I have to say is we didn't win a thing with them. So losing those guys doesn't hurt. We have to change something to win. And unfortunately, we got far with them, and I'm happy that we got that much success out of that team. But keeping everybody from that roster wasn't going to get us to the Stanley Cup final because we didn't get there in the first place.
Yeah.
And then two, the other thing I keep hearing about with the goaltending with losing Andy is, well, it's going to take years and years and years for these goalies to develop. Well, that's why we have 6 of them. And like last year, Hogberg got absolutely peppered and people were like, oh, like he doesn't look ready. Well, I bet you this year when he steps into the role, he's already been peppered. So he knows what to expect. Yeah. And if we tighten up defensively and then get better as a team, he won't be facing that many shots. Like we're not projected to win the cup this year. So even if a goalie takes time to develop, it's not going to hurt us. So, but that's it.
Yeah, no, honestly, those are good points. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move into the draft. We'll talk about the lineup and stuff in another video. We're just going to kind of forecast what we're Ottawa, what we want to kind of see out of our picks. So we'll start with the top 3 pick. So the 3rd pick overall. It's pretty self-explanatory. On one hand, you got Quentin Byfield, The other, you got Mr. Stutzel or Stutzla, whatever you want to call him.
Like Stutzel. Yeah.
Stutzel. And,
Timmy.
yeah, exactly. So you're going to get a superstar regardless. What do you think would be the best fit for Ottawa if you're to pick one of the two? Just let's just say we somehow got the second overall pick and you had to choose between A and B.
That's tough. It all there. See, like, there's another. Can I ask another kind of weird question? Seeing as we're in a COVID year, we don't know when hockey's coming back. So could we say like, so because my only thing is Quentin Byfield's 17, right? He's going to need at least another year of development, right?
Yeah.
So what if we don't get hockey back till next year? Like, so again, like if we drafted a guy like Quentin Byfield at 2 and waited the year, it might not be the worst thing. See, the problem with this question, Sam, is I don't want to make the choice because we don't have to. So I'm just going to kind of throw it off on you. I don't really have a preference because I like both players. I feel like they're both good and either one we get. Not to be that guy. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
But we don't have to make that choice, unfortunately.
Yeah, and like my ideal thing would probably be Stutzla, to be honest. He has the hands like Patty Kane. Quinn Byfield does has that big center grind to him, I guess you can say. But my only concern is right now he's playing in the OHL. He's playing guys that are like 16, 17 that are maybe like 170 pounds and they're not as mature as him. How is he going to face up against someone like a Sidney Crosby, who is a man of a man, I guess you can say, a very thick man? Is he going to be able to use that 6'4" frame and do that? And I've heard a little bit of issues with his compete level, I guess you can say. He's a very good and talented player, but besides the World Juniors, any stage that he was the center on, he hasn't really shined.
Well, he was really dry in the World Juniors, I thought too. He didn't see much. Didn't he get benched in the final game?
Yeah, like so the World Juniors
team was good.
Yeah, so the thing with the World Juniors is you can't base off of just one tournament because Connor McDavid, I think his first tournament only got like 3 points or something like that.
Yeah.
And McDavid, he turned out to be an okay hockey player.
Just okay.
He's pretty fast. But even like the U17 tournaments, the showcase tournaments, any tournament like that is just Byfield has not shown up in those tournaments. And that's why some scouts and experts have him at the number 6 spot, which is kind of concerning, but a lot of them do have him at 2 and 3. I even saw one that he was number 1 overall, which is kind of a far-fetched statement, but I think
that was a bit much.
Yeah, I think Stutzla has the better chance because he has that center spot and the left wing spot he can fill in. So
that's what I like about both of them is they're both centers, and I mean they prefer Stutzel in the middle.
Yeah,
like so. And the other thing too is LA is picking at 2, and we all know how LA loves their big players. So Quentin Byfield might be a person they like, and then if they're trying to say like tank, I don't want to say tank, but not have a great season again and get another top 5 pick, they could pair that guy with Byfield and then actually get back to where they used to be. So I'm not trying to talk on the Kings and what they should do. I'm just saying, like, based on their decision making, it's who we're going to get at 3. So either or, I think they're great. I'm leaning on Stutzel too with you. I think his skill is phenomenal. Like, it's hard to pass on a guy like that. Exactly. And he's playing with men.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So regardless, we'll like whatever's given to us, we have to take it. Obviously we have our preferences, but you can't lose in the situation unless he pulls like Eugene Melnick and like goes like completely random, like a Jack Quinn or something. He's like, nah. But I don't know. We'll leave it in Pierre's hand. I know he'll do the right thing. All right, so let's move on to the number 5 pick. So I'll break it down in kind of 3 situations here for you. And we'll kind of talk about it. So number 1, we'll start with let's just say Jamie Drysdale's available, a right-handed defenseman who's a puck-moving, solid defenseman. Do we have that? Do we take him or do we pass on him?
Just a tough call. Like, I don't see Ottawa even taking D-man. I really don't, because just with the news that came out today and just hearing from the chief scout, they're not looking D. It would make sense to have a partner for Shabbat, and I think Drysdale would be the better option. However, just knowing that the Sens aren't, I just don't think they're going to go for a D-man. I really think they're going to go for a forward.
I do too, and we had this conversation before. What Ottawa needs is a veteran defenseman to play with Shabbat. We need like a David Savard or a Mark Methot-esque type of player. So we can definitely agree on that. All right, so moving on. So let's just say Detroit, they draft Mr. Drysdale. So you have the opportunity to draft Marco Rossi, Perfetti, Lucas Raymond, whoever you want to be, kind of thing. Who do you think would fit best in the Ottawa system right now?
Well, there's a few things with that. I've heard Detroit's really leaning on Perfetti and not trying to go D-man. And if they go Perfetti, that's going to leave us with Rossi and Raymond. And the other thing, so who do I think fits in best with Ottawa? Lucas Raymond, 100%. However, I really like Cole Perfetti. I think he's got amazing hands and skill. I feel like whoever gets him is going to get a real good player. And if Ottawa did take him, it might be a reach, but it might work out in the end. Marco Rossi, we know him obviously from the 67s. Great player.
Yeah.
My only concern with him is size.
Yeah.
And Ottawa also doesn't necessarily go after like homegrown OHL talent. It'd be nice if they did, but I really like Lucas Raymond.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as that. I think that Raymond would be a good addition, especially for Ottawa, where we had a bit of difficulties when it came to scoring last year. I think he would definitely be a good touch. Rossi would be good also because he's a good two-way player, has very smart and all that. And Perfetti has just that natural gift kind of thing. So
yeah,
like either one of those guys, like I honestly, like if I was the Sens scout, it would be between Raymond and Perfetti.
Yeah,
I think Rossi, in all honesty, is probably going to go like 6th or 7th overall.
I think he might even drop a little bit more. I think I've been seeing that Jack Quinn even might go ahead of him.
I'm very skeptical on Jack Quinn personally.
No, I know. I'm agreeing with you too. That's a big risk if someone were to do that. I'm a little skeptical too, but
it's not our problem though.
No, and the only reason I think we're skeptical is for both of us. We live in Ottawa, and we've seen the 67s play. They've had a really good team the last 2 years, and sometimes players are a product of just a good team. And when I watched 67s last year, I didn't get that Jack Quinn thought that I guess some of these scouts might have. Whenever I was watching games, I saw Marco Rossi a lot and Kevin Ball. Other than that, I didn't notice Quinn as much, but like I said, I think Raymond for Ottawa, that's a good pick.
So you're saying that Jack Quinn is the Pat Maroon of the 67s? I'm just joking.
Well, the 67s need to win 2 cups and then we'll talk, but yeah, I guess.
Okay. So, third situation, trade talk. Oof. What would Ottawa get with that type of pick? Like you guys, to me, it doesn't make sense to pass on a generational talent. And someone that could fill it. Okay. So someone that can fill your top 6 position very easily. I just don't like, unless it's like that sweet deal. Somehow, some way, this is just completely out of left field. We're able to sign like Jack Eichel or something like that, or trade for Jack Eichel. Sorry.
So that's kind of, not that I'm like, oh, we need to get Jack Eichel, or I'm trying to start the theory or the rumor, but Buffalo does hold the number 8 pick. I'm not saying I want to drop to 8, but like, apparently the only pick Ottawa will listen on, well, they'll listen on a few picks. They're not going to listen on 3, but on 5, like they will listen, but it's not. At first I heard it was for an NHL caliber ready player. Now, yes, that could involve like a Jack Eichel, but the way that I don't see Buffalo making that trade, to be honest with you. And there's just a lot there. But as far as 5 goes, it's only really if I think the 2 teams under us want to kind of push up, like Anaheim or New Jersey, and especially with a lot of GMs, they usually, when they make the trade, they usually tell the person that they're making the trade with like the neutral party. Like
Yeah.
they promised to take this guy and then we're going to take this guy too. Like if you've watched past like Brian Burke draft stuff, like with the Sedins, like he's like, you know, we're going to take the Twins, you're going to take Stefan, and they tell the neutral guy what's going to go on. So usually if maybe they were discussing and, you know, Ottawa knew they could get Raymond down at 7, but also get a second round pick in it, or well, that's actually a bit steep, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they got to have something extra. Why not? But
like, let's just say it's
know.
like not a team that, I don't know. It's hard to say like what Ottawa could use with that number 5, because like it would have to be a high-end player. If Pierre trades for a bunch of prospects, I'll lose my mind.
You got to get a top 6 player, at least with contract. And I'm not saying like 2 or 3 years or a rental. Like you need to get a guy who's got like a 4 or 5 year deal. And I know that sounds risky, but like if we're going to actually make this series, you're giving away the 5th overall pick. So it has to be worth it. You're pretty much giving a team control of a possible superstar player for the next till what, they're 26 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to have some sort of compensation. I'm not saying you got to give up the farm. I'm just saying you got to make a fair trade. So it has to be a top 6 player that can slot in. If not, you just keep 5, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so last we'll go with the last pick here. Number 28. Ottawa has also 3 or 4 second rounders that we can play around with that 28 pick. So can you foresee Ottawa maybe packaging up, I don't know, like 3 second rounders and move up to like in the early teens kind of thing?
They can move to early teens. They won't get top 10. The only issue I have with this is how they're going to sign everybody. And then is this player, say they move into the teens with that pick and a trade. Is this player, like, if he's not ready right away, that's actually even better for us, because then we can wait a year to sign, because Ottawa and signing players, you know.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure we do this right. And that's where I think making up for that ground with the cap issues we're going to have, we're going to try and sign Brady Tkachuk to a long-term deal. And then we're saving the money to also sign these guys to long-term contracts as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I totally agree with that. So the one thing with second overall picks, not second overall picks, that's a lie.
Almost
second round picks is a very low percentage that the player actually makes it into the NHL. If we are able to package it up and move into like a surefire kind of like, this guy should be in the NHL, he might be a third line banger, but at least we know we got some like for sure NHL player, like that would be perfect. Ideally, I would like to somehow get that 28th and move down, I don't know, like 10 spots or something like that. If we move into the top 10 and get Holtz, I mean, somehow, some way we get Holtz. I think that would be a good situation, but that's literally like, it would have to be an unreal trade to get to that point. Maybe since we're drafting another centerman, we package out like Logan Brown, 28th pick and something like that.
Well, and the other thing too is I see, I know we're not big on Askarov, so he could drop all the way down to the early teens as well. But I'm also seeing guys like Jake Sanderson here too. And me and you've had the discussion about the defenseman issue too. So like, say even that could be a case as well. If, you know, we could, you know, like, I'm not big on drafting a D with 3 or 5, but if we had something, you know, in the teens and we could make it happen, that'd be nice. But and just a quick little stat here to butt in. Because I'm just Google stat nerd, 74% of the first round picks go on to become NHL players, but in the second round, the percentage is 34%.
Yeah, it's like less than half of that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I think that as much as second round picks are great, they're not the best. Like, yes, you'll find that one player you're like, oh man, that was a sure pick, whatever.
Well, there's always going to be gems in the rough, and there's always going to be guys that work harder when they get to the pro level than other guys who think they just earned it, right? So it's just kind of one of those things. I agree with you though. We need to make a package deal and try and trade some of those picks, because I don't want to. We've done a lot of waiting.
Yeah,
you know, need to get going.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So just to kind of wrap up this first ever podcast, video cast, whatever, We're going to do predictions. Call it out right now. Who goes top 5? In what order?
Ooh, oh, and like the NHL draft?
Yeah.
Lafreniere for sure. I got Byfield at 2. I don't see the Kings pass on him. I got us taking Stutzel at 3. 4. Who's got 4?
Detroit.
Oh my God. You know what? I'm gonna throw this one in the dark. They're taking Cole Perfetti. And I think we're gonna take Lucas Raymond at 5. Because I know not to be quick with Detroit, but they need offensive help now, and they could use a D-man, but they need to score goals.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I don't know what Detroit's goaltending situation is in their minor system. I have no idea.
I heard they're trying to sign Markstrom apparently. So
honestly, but that's the thing. Is like, what if Detroit goes with Lucas Raymond, who's a Swedish, because they usually have like Zetterberg, Lindstrom,
but again,
Daniel Alfredsson.
I think then we still take a Cole. I mean, if we take Cole Perfetti, we're not having a bad player. If we take Marco Rossi, it's not a bad player. And then even if, say, we do take one of the D-men, it's not ideal, but I think you're getting a good enough player at that pick. Detroit's the wild card in this whole thing. I think that's who really holds our cards.
Yeah, exactly. So just to give you my top 5, so Lafreniere, obviously number 1, hands down.
Oh,
honestly, it's going to happen.
He's nuts.
Number 2, honestly, like I do see the Kings picking up Stützle. I know they have Anze Kopitar. He can kind of learn behind Quentin Byfield to use that body and stuff like that. But I think Stützle just has the better talent, and compete level. So that'll land us with number 3 with Quentin Byfield. Number 4, honestly, like you said, it's a crapshoot. It could be Jamie Drysdale, could be Perfetti, could be Lucas Raymond.
Yeah.
So if I was to nail it down to 1, in all honesty, I would pick Jamie Drysdale, because Tampa Bay's back end is literally ran by Victor Hedman, which Stevie Y kind of
true. He is
I guess.
Yeah, I get you.
So would he be a good? And it's hard to find a right shot, right-handed D.
And that's the big thing in the whole thing, right? It's the right shot. Yeah.
So that's why it's a good pickup. Mind you, next year's draft does have a lot of good defensemen in it. So maybe pass on it this year, take that good forward. And for Ottawa, it is going to be Lucas Raymond. I'm calling Raymond. Get him in here.
Yep. Looks good.
It looks good. He apparently he's like Mitch Marner. So
the Sens have been doing a lot of interviews with him, and to step back just to the Detroit thing. Perfetti's been doing a lot of interviews with them, so that's why I feel like they're more leaning for him. So if Ottawa can get that confirmation from Detroit, then if we get Raymond, I mean, our lineup's looking pretty nice.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll come back to this next week post draft. We'll recap our predictions, what happened. I keep on saying Brian Murray. Will Pierre Dorion, rest in peace. Will Pierre Dorion make a move on draft day? That's the bigger question. It's like, are we going to make a move at the number 5? Are we going to move up in the draft? It's not so much of what we're going to pick, because we're going to get some top 5 talent regardless. It's what Pierre's going to do, because I don't think we need all those extra second round picks, because we can only have so many certain roster spots. So if we're able to maybe package up a couple second round picks for a certified, bona fide, good to go defenseman, maybe package up, move up the draft, whatever it has to be. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. So first episode of that sweet sensation, Sens Nation. Anyways, we'll talk to you guys next week. Go Sens.
All right. Go Sens, guys. Take care.